Caribbean Edge is live.
We're live.
Wow.
Welcome to another episode.
Oh, are we live?
Yes, live.
I was just gonna tell you, tune in. Oh my goodness.
Since we're at live, welcome to another episode of the Caribbean Edge. We're so glad you could join us. And my name is Dawn Wilson, for those of you joining us for the very first time. And we have a beautiful guest. Her name is Miss Carla Hill. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you so much. I am like fangirling because I know of the Caribbean Edge and your humble beginnings, and now if you all even see this like studio and its lights and robotic cameras, it's nuts. So thank you so much. I'm really flattered.
Thank you. We're flattered to have you as well. We've actually wanted you on this show for quite some time because Marlon joined us quite some time ago. And I thought he was such an amazing man.
Thank you.
And he said, wait till you meet my wife.
No pressure.
And that was a year ago. So we finally got her on the show because we've been so busy for the year. And of course, everyone knows the beautiful Sherilyn Marshall, who is busy sharing us while we get started here. So Carla, tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't let the accent fool you. I am Trini to the bone by way of my parents. My parents are from Trinidad and Tobago, and my culture is something that I carry with me. I treasure. It's a very important part of me. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents were part of that Caribbean crew in the 70s. They either went to England or they came to the States, and they went to New York because I think anyone that was paying attention to history, if you were brown, black, or otherwise, you weren't coming to the South.
Right.
So no one was really coming to Miami at that time. I didn't spend a lot of time in Brooklyn. I actually did go to Trinidad and do a little kindergarten, first grade-ish. Moved to the States when I was in first grade, and I remember my first day in school in the U.S., I didn't know how to say my name. I didn't know if to say Carla or Carla, because
right.
the teacher asked me, what's your name? And I went, Carla? I didn't know. So I remember that distinctly. We lived in Texas for a while because my mom is an Army veteran. She joined, she was trying to take care of me at the time. So when she went into basic training, I moved to Trinidad. So that's how I did kindergarten, first grade there. Anyway, before I give you the memoir, ended up in Miami in the third grade. And as I look back, that was 1980. And my awesome brother was born then. He's going to be 40 in a week. Oh my God, I'm old. But we're 7 years apart, but we're really close. He lives in Texas. I hope he's watching. It's the first time we've lived apart from each other like this.
Wow.
In our entire lives. So I miss him a bunch, but he was 1 and I was about 7. And we ended up in South Florida, in Miami, in deep southern Florida. Southern Miami-Dade County. And I remember recently the Perez Art Museum did this retrospective on Cristo. I don't know if you were here in the 80s. The artist Cristo wrapped the islands in pink fabric in the bay. Oh. And it was a big deal, and it was this like avant-garde thing, and people were like, why are you doing it? But yet everyone was so curious. Mm-hmm. And saw this footage of this thing at Perez Art Museum, and was like, wow, what a great time to have come here, because I myself am a creative person, and it was on the cusp of when Miami was shifting into this new thing. So I do consider myself a Miami girl, certainly Trini roots, and that's who I am. I'm a musical theater geek kind of kid. I was never the typical, I don't know, adolescent, meaning that I just loved everything. And I was very fortunate that my mom, she made it a point, a very specific point, not to do as she was done at a certain time in the Caribbean, as you, I don't know, girls needed to be in the kitchen and you needed to learn how to sew, and it was all about preparing you for having your own household. So she let me be this like punk rock loving rock and roll. I know she didn't understand it, but she embraced it. So I appreciate her for not pigeonholing me.
Yeah, restricting.
Yeah, and letting me just kind of be this far out child with all of these interests, but theater and creating at the heart of it. So I went to magnet schools. I'm a proud alumna of New World School of the Arts. It's one of the nation's most prestigious high school conservatories. And from there, I went to Florida State University because I'm a child of an immigrant, and it's either you're working or you're in college, right?
Right.
I can't sit at home and be like, oh.
Yeah, you have to do something.
At some point, the Caribbean mother steps in and
Yeah.
says, okay, what are you doing?
Right.
So I went to Florida State, and that's where I met Marlon.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's, in a nutshell, that's me up to college.
What did you study in Florida State?
I went and surprised. I didn't know what I wanted to major in.
Right.
I loved theater, but for whatever reason, I was afraid to take the chances that a lot of my friends were willing to take. In terms of, they were going to conservatory arts colleges. They were saying they were going to pound the pavement, audition. For me, I was afraid of the uncertainty then. So I majored in English because I had a favorite English teacher.
Love English.
Yes.
Love English.
Ralph Rennes
Yeah.
at New World School of the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was a great English student, but he was a great teacher. And I majored in English and said, okay, well, I did like a double major in education. So I have a major in English and secondary education. And I started my career as a teacher, as an English teacher. First middle school, and then I got the wild opportunity to return to my alma mater to teach English there. And not only did I go to school with some incredible people, I've taught some incredible people that are still in my life today. I just had my class reunion.
Yes, you were
29 years my class, but I'm really lucky to be a part of this tribe of creative people that just support each other. And I mean, our class reunion was like 1987 all over again. It was great. It was great.
Awesome.
So yes, met Marlon there, told him that he was, I crushed on him the minute I met him.
Really?
Oh my gosh, he was cute, smart, he was a leader, and I'm like, he is never, Carla, don't mess it up, just be his friend.
Right.
So down to the end, he was graduating from law school and I was graduating from undergrad, and I was like, look, let me just let this guy off easy. I don't want him to feel he has to break up with me. He took me to dinner. I'm like, look, you're going to be so wonderful. I had visions of him like going all over the world, being this international attorney. And I was like, for sure, he's going to marry some Jamaican girl to some Stacey Ann, Carrie Ann, very proper, Jamaican, wonderful accent, very dainty kind of thing. He'd never go for this rock and roll gal. And then he asked me to marry him. And I was like, what? Are you sure?
Wow.
And for those of you that don't know Marlon, he is Jamaican, so that's why she's saying that.
I'm sorry, yes. In the Caribbean, we have a mixed marriage, Trini and Jamaica. So, yes, I know. Sorry to the Carrie Anns and the Stacey Anns out there. You know what I mean. So I never thought that somebody that wonderful and brilliant would want somebody that sings show tunes and goes to see death metal in concert.
And that young too. And that young too.
Yeah.
He knew. He asked you to marry him. How old was he when he asked you?
We were 26 and 27.
So he was intrigued by you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I keep asking him.
I was just gonna ask you, did you ever get him to admit to you what is it?
Oh my gosh, we
had
go
in
through
store?
that now. 21,
Yeah. Of course, of course.
21 years of marriage, and he's still with me,
Congratulations.
so thank God
yes.
for that.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
That
Thank
is
you.
an accomplishment these days.
Thank
so
you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
So I want to dive deep.
Let's go.
Okay. So thank you for telling us about yourself. Very interesting. I know, our research and our posts that we've put out, shared with our viewers that you received a kidney transplant.
Mm-hmm.
What age did you receive a kidney transplant?
So the kidney transplant was in 2000, so I had to be 28. I was born in 72. Do the math.
I like how you have to calculate because I have to do the same
Yes.
thing. I have to calculate it. Yeah.
Serums, creams, trying to keep it together.
Right.
As I get to that big woo. But 2000. But prior to that, I was diagnosed with kidney disease. I was probably about 18, 19.
When you were diagnosed.
Yeah. I remember feeling symptoms. A fun fact about me is that I cheered for the Miami Dolphins in '92. That was the last time we went to a playoff. You can bring me back to the field as your good luck charm.
We need you. God knows, so we need all the help we can get.
Go Finns, we have faith.
Yeah.
So I remember, I look back at pictures of me and I see myself being very sort of faint, and I remember like my feeling clammy. And I'm not a doctor. I don't want to say that that's an indication that you have kidney disease, but I remember not feeling right. And then one day I was home. I took a year off at Florida State, and I cheered for the Dolphins in that time. My mom found me passed out in the bathroom. I think that I had exercised regularly. I did all of the right things. And her instinct, she took me to the emergency room. One thing led to another, and found out I had a rare kidney disease, Wegener's granulomatosis. The only treatment at the time to keep that in remission is a drug called Cytoxin, which is basically chemotherapy.
Wow.
Because I also had Cytoxin as chemo later on with the breast cancers. Yes,
Right.
It was like that too. But I was taking it by pill. So I was young and in college. I wasn't thinking about getting pregnant. I better not get pregnant.
Right.
Because the Caribbean mother would have come out. And also when you're going through things, they say ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So while I think that I was smart enough to know I wasn't really deep diving.
Yes.
Because if you think about not having a kidney or the potential of having to have a kidney transplant, it seems so surreal. But anyway, got married in 1998. I got a Fulbright scholarship to Japan for educators, same year. And then when I came back, I went into kidney failure. That was about 99. So I was on dialysis for 11 months. It was really tough. Because I had done all the right things. I was a good girl, no drugs, no drinking, exercise. I mean, to cheer for the Dolphins, you have to be healthy, you have to be in good shape. And here I am with this kidney disease. No one knows how, what, when, where. Dialysis for about 11 months, and then March 19th, I think, of 2000, I got the call that the kidney was mine, and so I sit here with a 19-year-old kidney, which in itself is a blessing.
Yeah.
And I don't think of a timeline for it. I just, my mom is a praying mom, and I know she's a much better prayer warrior than I. I cuss too much in my prayers to the good Lord, but I hope I give him a good laugh. And I know that I'm here because of her faith and that of my friends and family. So that was number one. So you think you have one major surgery in your life and then you're done. But then 5 years later, in 2005, I discovered a lump in my right breast.
You discovered.
I discovered it. I was going to a family wedding, getting dressed, and had this hair down to the middle of my back. Woo! Miami girl, get the blowout once every week, something like that.
Right.
I felt the lump and I was immediately frightened because my mother is a breast cancer survivor. She was going through her journey when I was graduating from college. So she's a survivor now since at least minimum 94, 95. And we're in 2019. And what she was doing at the time was a very radical thing, something that is done. It was almost like she was testing this treatment. She had her stem cells, and it was a big ordeal, but now it's nothing. Thanks to her and other women like her, now we know that therapy works, and she's been a survivor since then. So I found it at stage 2. There's only 4 stages. I found it at stage 2. Now keep in mind that, I had the kidney transplant, but now I have to do chemo. So, and I'm very thankful to the people at Sylvester Cancer Center for knowing that they had to get rid of this cancer, but also there's a kidney that can't be disrupted too much.
Wow.
So, did chemo, lost my hair. So hair was a big thing for me. I was proud of how long it was and all that good stuff. Lost my hair, but prior to that, I remember my mom pulling out her hair in tufts, and I knew that I didn't want to do that. So I made an appointment with Marlon's barber, and I said, just cut it off.
Yes.
Cut
yes.
it off.
I agree.
And I want to take control of it. So from the beginning, I have used, from the beginning of my health journey, I call it, because everyone is on it, not everyone, but there are many people that are on a health journey. I have used fashion and beauty. I've used the things that I like, that give me joy, fashion and beauty, to empower myself. So cut off all my hair, and I went back to the 80s. I got like big hoop earrings and even like little Kango. Remember Kangos?
Yes.
Kangol,
Yes.
those of you over a certain age. But they had these cute sort of like beret kind of things. So I did that. For me, wigs were never my thing. I don't think I look good in them, and I felt that I would be putting on the wig for other people. So my path to my moniker, Breastless Beauty, that's BRSTLSS, no vowels in the breastless because I have none. But all the beauty, so Breastless Beauty, is because there was a moment where I was so down.
When was that?
That was during the chemo, and I'm like, why is this happening? Because I've been a good girl. And one of my best girlfriends, Renee, came to me. She's tired of me telling the story, but she really is the one that got me back, into the swing of things. She came over with some eyelashes. She's a wonderful dancer, and she used to lead the whole southern region of the United States in the art of exotic dancing, and it was to empower women. So she had all this fun stuff, all these like great stripper shoes and all this great stuff. She brought some MAC number 7 eyelashes to me, and she said she just knew she didn't like the way I looked. She said, this is not you. Put these on with the bald head and go out. And I did, and now I have this box, yay, of eyelashes. I cannot go into a Walgreens or a CVS or anywhere without seeing, is it 2 for 1 today?
Wow.
So the eyelashes are something I like because, again, I lost my hair, so my eyelashes never grew back properly. So sort of my thing.
Yeah.
So let's ask you this. Take us back to when you're going through the worst part of the health crisis, right?
Mhm.
You had just gotten married,
I was just married.
based on the math,
That's correct.
and
then,
And you had a kidney
You're-
transplant.
well, I had to do dialysis first, which
Right.
was really scary.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know what dialysis was. And then the worst part was having to sit on that machine for 4 hours,
Was
3
that?
times a week.
that's rough.
I have an uncle who did
But-
it, and I always wondered how he did it.
Mm-hmm.
I always wondered how
When-
he did that.
When you and your husband now are faced, because I'm sure as a young married couple, you're doing everything right? School, no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing.
We're the most
You're-
square.
You're the square people looking
Yeah.
forward to having children,
Yes.
grandchildren,
Yes.
everything else. So now you're faced with all these health
Mhm.
challenges and a new marriage. What
Mhm.
was that like for you and Marlon with the reality that you
Mhm.
can't have kids, right?
And I think that's a really important thing to bring up because even though I see myself as very liberal, early in my marriage, I still felt that a part of me had to be traditional. And having a family and making a home, because he's a great person. So you
Yeah.
marry someone that you want to have children with and share your values with them. And it just wasn't going to happen for us.
Right.
I became menopausal in college because of the Cytoxin.
Wow.
I would have hot flashes at like
Wow,
20.
wow.
Now I am looking
Crazy.
back,
Yeah.
and my periods got lighter, but I wasn't thinking about
Yeah.
it. But I also think, again, the brain is good at not letting you think about some
Yes.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yes.
But I think it's a great question because I tell people all the time, make sure that you marry somebody that you really want to be with no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
That you like them, and that children is not the end all be all.
It's not the reason for your marriage.
Correct.
Yes.
I think it's wonderful if you can, but we can't.
Right.
And I felt terrible for him, and there were
Yes.
moments in my darkest health times. I mean, the transplant, and then the cancer in 2005, then another cancer in 2007, where I just said, look, if you want to leave me, it's okay. Because I felt that,
You were inadequate.
I just didn't
Yeah.
have anything to give him. And over the years, and I feel that it's important for women who are struggling with having kids or they can't have children because of one reason or the other, know that it's okay to be sad about that.
Yes.
I think people are quick to give you solutions. Like, oh, you can adopt. Don't worry, there are plenty of kids out there that need you. Well, yes, but the feeling of having your own is very different. When it's not your choice, when you've done everything right,
Yeah.
you have 2 good jobs, you're ready to
To be a family.
yes. It's not an easy thing to hear when it's not your choice that you're in this predicament.
And so many men walk away in that
Mhm.
situation. So what did he say when you tried to push him away and say, no, move on without me?
Oh my gosh. He puts on his little Kingston accent. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. That was bad. He was
Was it more like, me not gonna wear my day off?
There it is.
Way better.
There it is. Again, when I met him, he's just one of these people that he's just a good guy.
Right, well, let me ask you something else. even though you said to him, you know, you can leave me, I know I'm bringing you all of this drama and troubles, did you think that he would?
No, I mean,
Right,
yeah, but
at that time
you don't want him to,
but it was
still,
almost like you just,
yeah.
I don't know, you know, theater people, we always prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the rejection.
Yeah.
So you just kind of say, okay, if you want to do it, good. And certainly I would have been like, no,
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
hard, right?
Kill me now.
yeah. But no, he never wavered, because we really just adore each other.
Yes.
I know that I married up, and he's probably cussing as he watches this. But I know that I'm just not perfect. I mean, neither is he, but really and truly, he's just, I don't know. I don't want to make this a gushing.
I'm gonna read
Good.
something you posted so I can take you a little bit,
Oh,
little
wow.
pressure off you.
Okay.
So I went fasting on your Facebook page, and she wrote this, and I thought it was so moving. She says, "I married a better human than I will ever be." And I know Marlon disagrees with it.
That's true.
But to see that you wrote that about your husband is really, really nice.
That's true.
Because I think for him to stand by your side and for you to be by his side as well, you met at the right time and everything just happens for a reason. And I firmly believe that.
Oh, wow.
So-
Well, you know, the thing is, we always lived in the same neighborhood.
Wow.
We didn't meet until we went to
To
college.
college.
He even crashed a party, a sweet 16 of a friend of mine where I was at the party. But we didn't mind because it was these 3 cute guys rushing through. So we were like, ooh, perfect. But he was one of the guys that I didn't know. So I didn't meet him until college. So I guess everything. Oh, I totally would have messed it up if I met him in high school. Oh,
Yes.
of
Timing
course.
is everything.
Yes.
Timing is
Yes.
everything.
But he has stayed, and our motto together, because we've come to a decision, we're both almost 50. It doesn't mean, never say never about some person out there that may need a home in the future. But for now, we're saying, look, it's just you and me, kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
And we have to do everything in our power to be healthy, to be there for each other, because our life is going to look different than that of our friends. You know, we have freedom to do things, but we also have to make sure that we're just conscious of what we do, how we live, are we healthy. We want the best years with each other. So,
Well said.
thank you.
My next probing question for you, and I'm asking you these questions because we love people, real people, that share their stories with us and their journey, because I think we impact people when people can tune in and see someone else in a similar situation or what is considered a worse situation. Makes you say, I don't have anything to feel bad about if she can get through this. So the motivation that and the inspiration that you give to people is beyond measure. So I'm going to ask you this. Tell us about your journey making a decision to be breastless. I think you are going to impact lives because I never ever thought about it. And if I'm ever faced with that choice, I want to speak to somebody or what brought you to that decision.
You know, and this is prior to social media. Now there are great communities that I've discovered. Instagram has been a really positive place for me, and I found other women. We call it living flat or flatties. So we see more of them. But when I made the decision, 2005, I removed the right breast. The mastectomy of the right breast helped to, cancel out any cancer being there. So I went, look, just take it. But I would wear a prosthesis. So I would have a cup made in the bra and put like a silicone something, breast form, so I'd be symmetrical. And
2005 was your first
the
diagnosis.
first breast cancer,
Okay.
At
yes,
stage 2.
at stage 2.
Okay.
So I wore the prosthesis.
Let me ask you something else. It was stage 2. Did they give you an option to do a lumpectomy?
Yes, but because I had the kidney transplant, I have a kidney transplant,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it all out. I feel, for me personally, I think lumpectomies would have me on edge all the time.
Time. Yeah. Yeah.
And the lump was too big.
Too big.
It wasn't, yeah, sure, but I feel that the margins, there was too much chance that the margins of some cancer would still be there.
Did the doctors look at you weird when you said you wanted to just do a mastectomy instead of a lumpectomy?
No, they were happy.
Perfect.
They were happy. They let me make the decision.
Yeah.
They also wanted it out.
Out.
They wanted to make sure that it was gone.
Great.
So then 2 years later, I got the second breast cancer, and I did discover that through mammogram.
2 years.
2 years later.
Wow.
And this was the other breast.
The other breast. Also triple negative. So my cancers both times were very aggressive. Triple negative cancer is very aggressive, and it's common for black women to have triple negative. For whatever reason, there's a great study that the University of Miami, UM Sylvester, is doing with women in the Bahamas of Caribbean descent, because there's a high ratio there. But research that, Google that. So anyway, I decided again to do mastectomy because I'm always thinking about what's going to be best for my kidney. If there's cancer there, take it out. So then I started wearing the 2 prostheses.
Yeah.
And then that started getting
Annoying.
uncomfortable. And what I realized is that I wasn't doing it for symmetry or me anymore. I was doing it because I felt I didn't want people to look at me and feel uncomfortable. But I was uncomfortable the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Because, it can get a little heavy, it's hot, and it's not your breast, so
It's not
you're adjusting, but sometimes I'm adjusting, and then the damn thing's up here, and, so...
Too much trouble.
Yes.
Too much trouble.
So then I was watching the Olympics one year, one of those years that it was happening, and I looked at the swimmers, and I liked the beach. I like lounging and all that good stuff, spa and all that stuff, and it just wasn't working with the prosthetic. So I looked at the swimmers, and I noticed that the women swimmers, they're very flat.
Yes, they are.
And I went, wait a minute. So I bought one of the Speedo one pieces that they wear. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
I can rock this.
This works. And then eventually I stopped wearing the prosthesis to work. And luckily I was working with my tribe of people. I was working in arts administration, and they just, that's just how it was. I'm sure in the beginning it was different, but I just started living that way. Oh my gosh, that had to be mid-2000s. So I've chosen this now. And then I started looking at just fashion shows, and I'd look at dresses and be like, well, that model doesn't have any boobs anyway.
Right.
So I'm going to look for something that
A lot
is
of the
similar.
models, yes.
So, for instance, this dress, it just goes straight across, but then I learned, let me distract you, so I'll put this big necklace on, and you're probably looking at these sleeves too.
Yes.
So I've learned to make my own symmetry through the fashion and the accessories, if that makes sense.
Yes,
But
it
I
does.
saw
Yes, it does.
some amazing pictures of you on the beach.
Oh.
Doing on Instagram, doing your poses, and you look beautiful. I
Thank
can't
you.
even picture you any other way.
Well, I do TV hosting. I'm a national TV host for PBS. I do local and national things for them, and I do commercials here and there. And sometimes for television, I do have to wear a bra with prosthesis, just because I understand that without the breast, sometimes in certain dress, it just sags here, and it's not a good look. It's not a clean look.
Certain dresses need
Certain dresses need it.
Yes.
So I use my breast prosthesis like earrings. Does the dress need earrings?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll put them on. If it doesn't, I don't. But for TV, I understand that it's a visual thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I came home with the prosthesis on, and Marlon was like, No. Take those off.
Yeah.
So yes, we. I don't see myself with them anymore
Right.
because it's just who I am, and I know that women, men watching it may not understand. Some people, they want immediately. They want the mastectomy done, and they want the procedure to start right now.
Okay.
And for me, what I tell people as they're going through a health journey is there was a you before and there's a you after.
Yes.
And for me, I don't know that I want to recreate who I was before. People that go through not that I was a bad person,
Right.
but I think I feel the positive of this is that there are few people that truly get to reinvent themselves in a positive way. So I have reinvented myself.
Right.
And it's I can step out and, like I said, experiment with all the hoop earrings that maybe I wasn't allowed to wear,
Yeah.
and all that other stuff. So it's been an interesting journey, and I tell people to try and figure out this newness. It's
Yeah.
going to hurt a lot, but once you find your groove, it's refreshing. There are very few people that totally get to say, okay, I can rethink this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So with everything you've gone through, and you probably questioned why me,
Sure.
did you just lay in bed and cry for days, or
Yeah. Oh,
Of course. Yeah.
last year I did the lockdown.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do have a master's in mental health.
Mhm.
Among my careers, I was a mental health therapist for a short time before the arts was like, come back.
Grabbing. Yeah.
And I had to take my own advice.
Yeah.
I really think, particularly people in the Caribbean community, people of color, I really think that we have to seek therapy.
Mhm.
It's a hard thing to
Yeah.
do. And I will say something controversial. I think sometimes the therapy can't always be your pastor.
Mhm.
It can't always be your priest.
Mhm.
I am a God-fearing woman, but I also believe there is merit in people who are professionally trained to see you as you and not put any other things on it that you walk away feeling guilty, or maybe I shouldn't be feeling this, or I should be feeling this, or I should be doing this. The therapist is there to help you work it out.
Yeah.
You have the answers here, but I think you just need someone that doesn't know you, isn't seeing you at church on the weekends or at the coffee shop, to just help you work it out.
Yeah.
And if you need some help in the meantime with antidepressant, anti-anxiety, those things are there for a reason.
Mhm.
As long as it's being administered by a professional and it's being monitored by someone, there are things to help you see clearly.
Did you have to use them? Did you have to use
I
antidepressants?
did,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
I didn't, I worked first with my primary care physician, and I did seek counseling as well.
Yeah.
And people are frightened of those medications because they think they're going to be on them forever.
Yes.
And of course, again, within the culture, you're crazy and why are you taking these things?
Yes.
But it's really there to help you not live under your bed.
Right. Help you get out of bed
Yes.
and function.
Yes. You have to, it's there to help you get some clarity.
Mhm.
Not to make you not feel anything.
Right.
But as a culture, I think we just need to be open to that.
Yes.
Because we want mental health, and the brain is a serious thing. And we want people here, we want them alive, we want to know that they're loved and they belong on the planet. And there are days when all of us need that reminder. And if your brain is functioning in a state of despair, it can trick you and make you feel that you're not you're not worthy,
Yes.
and that's far from the truth.
Yes. Why am I here?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Why am I here?
Exactly.
Let me ask you something else. Besides Marlon,
Mm-hmm.
who would you say was your rock through? Is there any one person that you would say was your rock through any one of these?
My college girlfriends for sure.
Yeah. Nice.
So kidney transplant. I have my Tams and my Wrens out there, and then we bought our house in 2001. My neighbor, so funny.
Wow.
She lives right in the back of me, Miss Trini. I don't know if she wants to be Latoya.
Right.
So my college girlfriends, and sometimes they'll gang up on me.
Mm-hmm.
The college girlfriends and the neighbor will come together if I'm not having a good
Yes.
week, time, whatever.
So much needed.
Yes,
It was much
but
needed.
when we bought our house, there was no house in the back, and then of course they build a house, and we're like, oh, it's 2-story. Rah, who's living back there? A Trini family who's like they're our family, and you know how Caribbean people go. She's also like related to me down the line somewhere. So I would say her, and then just really wonderful people. And the truth is, they have that meme that says, check on your strong friends.
Yes.
It's so true.
Yes.
And within this last year, I've had the blessing of some really fabulous women just take me to lunch.
Yeah.
I can't even express how kind people are, and I really try to do the same.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They're better.
So I want to read some of the comments from our viewers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we have comments.
So someone said you should write a book.
I'm sure you've thought of it many
Benjamin
times.
agreed you should write a book.
Who is it? Sorry, who said that?
Peggy Benjamin says
Yes, Peggy,
she's
I
agreeing with
agree.
someone else. I'm not seeing all the comments. I do apologize. Trisha Chung Foster says, so beautiful, so positive, such an inspiration. Thanks for sharing your amazing journey, Carla. Wishing you and Marlon continued blessings. And I know Oliver Mayer, our Consul General, did make a comment as well, so thanks for joining us. He did say he loves and respects you and Marlon so much as well.
He's a lot of fun. I want to do karaoke with him.
Oh, it's fun, right?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Before I even met him, I heard he was fun.
Yes.
And then I met him and he lived up to his reputation. And I was like, wow, this is good. This is good. Yes. Yeah, he's fun. He's
So
fun.
I know, because I looked into women that have chosen the opposite to do the plastic surgery.
And I want to say I'm not opposed to that.
Oh,
Everyone
no,
has
absolutely
their
not.
Their
Their
path.
own journey to follow. Absolutely. So some of what I read, because I'm educating myself in the process as well, and our viewers as well, because like you said, when you started this journey that you didn't ask for, didn't want, but was given to you, the social media wasn't there, the Googles, everything else for us to do our research. And what research shows, which is something you mentioned, a lot of doctors, it's just automatic. You go from, removing the cancer into doing the cosmetic surgery without educating patients or giving them the options. So I know New York is one state that actually passed that the doctors do have to educate.
And I want to say that all of those options were given to me, but it's important for anyone going through breast cancer to know that you can decide to have reconstruction at any time.
point in time. You don't have to do it right
You
away.
don't have to do it right away.
Right.
So my advice is to be cancer free first.
Right.
Yeah. And people said that too. In some of the comments I read, they're like, I'm just dealing with the cancer. I don't even want to go through, put my body through anything else right now. So I think, like you said, it's important to take the time.
Yeah. I would recommend be cancer free first. And think about it. For me, the going breastless is a whole other issue for me as well.
Mhm.
Again, because of the kidney
Kidney
transplant.
transplant.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I had to think, well, do I want breasts so badly that I'm willing to risk, if I, remember I live immunosuppressed.
Mhm.
So that means that my immune system is constantly being suppressed by my anti-rejection medication, so I don't reject my kidney.
Yep.
So I'm fooling my body every day
Yeah.
that this kidney belongs to me.
Mhm.
So that means if I got some infection
Mhm.
from a boob job,
Yes.
Yeah.
I could lose my kidney.
Right.
So I had to go.
You had to think things through, like
Yeah.
really think
For
things through.
me,
Yeah.
it just
Wasn't
wasn't,
worth
and
it.
is not worth it.
Mhm.
Right.
And I've found so much freedom, and I think, some really badass fashions
Yes. Because of that.
of how I look at fashion. I've always been that way. I would use allowance to buy Vogue
Mhm.
magazine. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, my mother had a doozy on her, and I've been cutting pictures out of Vogue since I was like 11,
Right.
and I would tape them on my wall. So now, thanks to the internet, I mean, Marlon watches soccer, and I'm looking at, and I'm making notes, and I'm sending emails to myself about different styles, and
Yeah.
I like how this shape is, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's all I do is I'm researching different looks or how people put things together. I like that necklace, and this could go with that, and I like that suit, that kind of thing.
Did he ever give you a hard time about going restless?
Never.
I didn't think so.
Never.
Did he ever give you a hard time about anything during the kidney transplant and the two times that you were diagnosed with the
Never.
breast cancer?
Never. There's some, I have again, one of my college friends, she's like, I never hear her complain about Marlon about nothing.
Right.
Not even the cornmeal porridge was not sweet enough.
Right.
So,
Right.
So I have two questions
Yes.
on here. One of them is from some guy named Marlon. He wants your number.
Marlon who? Can he pay my student loans?
And then the other question he has is, what advice do you give for the caregivers out there, the person taking care? I love that question.
Great question.
That is a great
question,
question.
Mr. Hill.
Yeah. Unless it's the other Marlon that can pay off my grad school. We can talk. Caregiving, and there's such a conversation now in society about caregiving.
Caregivers. Yes.
Particularly because we have a very large baby boomer population that's, my mom's age. But also people are recognizing that the caregiving can be as stressful or more stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a great question because I was the one being taken care of. And I think the only answer I can give is that there has to be a time where that caregiver is able to do what they love to do as well. Marlon and I love each other to death, but we both have our varying interests, and I don't mean to make light of it, but he knows after a while on a Saturday I get cabin fever and I've got to go touch clothes. I've got to go look at things.
Yeah.
Right.
And but it's important for everyone, the person being taken care of, the caregiver, to remember that you're still human and you still have stuff you like. There's a movie, there's dinner, there's just Netflix. It's important to have those moments where you take a break and you're just human together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would suggest.
Mm-hmm.
Also, caregivers need therapy too.
I'm sure.
So I think sometimes you may be mad at the person that you're taking care of because
resentful.
there are some days
Yes.
that maybe you do want to do something,
And
but you can't because you have to take care of them, and that anger is probably not hate toward the person. It's probably more anger about the situation. But having, again, a neutral person to talk to about that, I think is important. So therapy, taking time, particularly if it's couples, still find time for the date night. If they can't go out for health reasons, maybe they're super immunosuppressed, there's all kinds of things, Netflix, this, that,
Yes,
you know.
you can still do things that you
Yes,
enjoy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So keep the intimacy, and we have to remember that intimacy means a lot of things, you know. Keep touching each other, hugs, and, you know, contact. Keep those hormones going by physical touch, because maybe, you know, sex is not something that you can have right now with your partner, because, you know, chemotherapy takes a toll. It kills all the good, the bad, the ugly cells.
Yeah.
So, and women's bodies are already very vulnerable, you know. So keep the intimacy going in a way that means something to both of you.
Absolutely. Wow. So I think we're at the end of the show.
Oh man, I didn't
What's
sing
next?
Stormy Weather.
Okay, you can
No,
sing.
just kidding.
No, you have to sing it
No,
now.
never.
Now you have to sing it.
No voice lesson in 25 years. No.
What's next for you?
Well, I am I really enjoy Breastless Beauty on Instagram. So BRSTLSS and then beauty. Or really easy to find me, Ms. Carla Hill, MS Carla, CARLA Hill. And I enjoy sharing beauty and fashion tips. For instance, I just did Miami Carnival, and I sure did wear a bikini costume.
We saw.
But I make accommodations, you know. But I want to play my mask just like anybody else.
Have you always played?
Yes, I'm already in mourning because I have a new job and I won't be able to go to Trinidad. But did tell Marlon, I was like, but wait a minute, Jamaica, St. Lucia,
So many more. Yeah.
So mass is so special to me for so many reasons. The history, just being there and knowing. What I love about Caribbean people is that we know exactly where the slave ship landed. Like, there's no question. And the streets we walk on our islands are like the same streets our ancestors were on. And it blows my mind. So TV, I want to do more TV, more commercials. Because
you did the Zales commercial.
I did.
I saw that.
And you know,
Beautiful.
Zales totally gave me a big up. They reposted it because they didn't know that they hired this breastless model.
Right.
And
wow.
They gave me a big up on Instagram, and they were like, "We're so proud that that they worked with me." And I was like, "Thank you for showing people that beauty is really
everywhere."
Beauty is everywhere. Beauty is everywhere. So more TV hosting. I'm hoping to work with PBS more. And do more things, because that's my artistic outlet. The extra fashion money is great, but I do it because it just feeds me. I'm a creative in the end, and I just have a lot of fun doing it. So that's what we're looking forward to doing. And just Marlon is running for Miami-Dade County Commission, District 9. So I'll be one of the first political wives with visible tattoos, I think.
They're in. I never thought I would get one, and my daughter challenged me, and now I have an Irie tattoo on my shoulder. I know.
Congratulations.
My family would be shocked.
Yeah.
They are shocked.
But
Never say never.
I know.
I'm really proud of him, very protective of him. Again, he's a good guy, and politics can be weary.
Yes.
But talking about caregiving, I make sure that our home is not, campaign central number 2.
Yeah.
It is home, and
It will
that
remain
stuff
home.
is, yes. So my job is making sure that he gets the rest and the relaxation that he needs. So I plan the fun things.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an exciting journey as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're rooting. I feel that he will do really, really well. He'd be a great commissioner. Miami-Dade County would be very lucky. So.
And you can check him out on the Facebook page of the Caribbean Edge, because he was on here a couple weeks ago.
And marlonhill.com, I have to say that. I know that much, that I have to say that much. Marlon Hill, MARLON Hill.com. So,
Thank you.
yes,
You
thank
are beautiful,
Oh, thank you for having me.
amazing, and
I'm all right.
phenomenal. No, no.
I'm gonna call you when I'm cleaning the toilet and be like, tell me I'm phenomenal again.
You are, but you probably clean it well. So yes, but just to open up about your journey and be so honest and truthful and inspiring, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
It's
Well,
your truth. So
it is my truth, and I think people shouldn't sugarcoat it. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to hate this. It's terrible. But my advice is hate it, cuss at it, try not to stay in that space.
Yes.
Get out.
Exactly. Cry your eyes out if you have to. I always say cry your eyes out if you have to. I gave my daughter that advice recently about a relationship that she was in, and she was going through a really hard time about. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. Just don't drown in your tears.
And if you recognize you're drowning,
Ask for
find
help.
somebody. Yeah.
Yes.
Find somebody. And
Ask
if you
for help.
see your friend, I am here today because my girlfriends,
Saw
that
you.
neighbor, those college girlfriends, and social esquire gals out there. That's another group of wonderful friends. They saw me
Yes.
under my bed.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to
Reach
call
out.
somebody for
And
me.
Yeah.
kudos to your mom for being amazing and your amazing friends. We have so many friends that tell us it's the friends that have become family that are there like the caregivers to give those other caregivers a break as well. And that love and support system you give each other as a community. Awesome.
Thanks for again. I'm so fangirling. I'm on the Caribbean
Good
Thank
night.
you for coming. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
Ciao for now,
much.
everyone. Take good care.
Thank you. Bye.
Mwah.